Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Ryan Gerdes. And last day without Justin. He will be back next week.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I love doing these episodes where I don't have to read anything and I can take off my glasses. I feel like I'm cutting loose right now.
Yeah, people can see the real you. I'm sorry.
Maybe I should put back the glasses on. All right. We would love to include you in our stories. You're going to want to text the word story to 623-AZ-RECON. That's story to 623-AZ-RECON. We decided just on our Friday editions of just telling real life stories of our experiences with our clients and our podcast listeners and so forth. So who do you want to begin with? Me or you?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'll step first. You've heard us talk about new homes as of late, and we just had this really big success story because of our relationships with a number of builders, but one in particular. We were able to go in there because they were reaching their year-end numbers, and so when you are searching for a new home, understanding when their fiscal year is up could be a massive advantage for you, because if there's a sitting spec, oh my God, they want that off of their books, something fierce, and there could be massive opportunity for you. So we were able to find a sitting spec, and we got it under contract a few weeks before the end of the fiscal year, and they did huge incentives for them, and so we just closed up with them. They're moving in. They're happy as a pig in shit, and it's been a fun experience because these kids, I call them kids. They're not kids anymore. But I remember him. He was like sixth grade or fifth grade or something like that, and he's the son of a really close friend of mine. And he was he was a little twerp. Now he's like 6'5" and like a full on man. And I'm like, geez, dude. But he grew up, and he's just got a really good head on his shoulders. He and his girlfriend said, you know what, we're tired of renting, tired of throwing away our money. Ryan, show us the path, and so that's what we did.
So how different could that have experience been? Because people hear real estate agents say it all the time. Don't walk into a builder without me, on your first visit, because you're going to basically, sacrifice your right to representation. And there's a great deal of truth in that. I think, though, for a lot of buyers, they just think it's just realtor hype or whatever the case is. But in this situation, how different could it have been, or would it have been, if these buyers walked in, one, just unrepresented, no representation, or two, did walk in with a real estate agent that let's just call it lack the negotiating skills?
Well, I think that a lot of people don't want to use a real estate agent because number one, they think that we get paid too much, and number two, they usually think that they can get a better deal out of the builder if they go in there unrepresented, because their thought process is, okay, well, builder, you don't have to pay a real estate agent, so you can put that money into my pocket, right? Usually, that's not the scenario. But I'm a firm believer that price is only an issue in the absence of value. And so the value that we were able to bring ended up being straight monetary. There was a lot of other elements too. We were able to get through it a lot more efficiently. We were able to do a lot more education. But right up front, already saved him $30,000, which I knew they would have gone a different direction had they not asked a few pivotal questions. And it's not that I wouldn't do it had I not been part of the transaction, but the Rolodex of the contractors that we work so closely with, we have already saved them over $10,000, as opposed to the landscaper that they were going to use, the handyman that they were going to use to install fans and do some painting, etc. We've already saved them over $10,000, and so we're already racking up $40,000 there. We did not make $40,000 on that deal. We made a fraction of that, and so the rest of that savings went right into their pocket. And so going back to price is only an issue when value is in the absence of value. So start taking that into account whenever you're determining whether or not you want to walk into a new home builder alone, or if you want to have a seasoned professional walk in there to help you.
It's one of those walk me through this thought process. Why would a builder discount their profit on a house to reward you for not having an agent with you? They don't want you to have an agent because they want to make more money. They want to net more money. They do not pass those savings on to buyers. And so I think it's a little bit of a myth. Would love to include you in Storytime. If you want to have a conversation with one of us and begin the journey of learning how to build wealth in real estate, or continue your journey in building wealth in real estate, or just like to have a conversation about it, because we love talking real estate, we love talking money, all you got to do is text the word STORY to 623-AZ-RECON. That's STORY to 623-AZ-RECON. Okay, so I am working with an airman at Luke Air Force Base, and I would call him a kid. I mean, he is young. And it's funny, I was talking with our buddy Whip, who's a former F-35 pilot, and I talked about that the fact that he's an airman and this is his kind of age bracket, and we're going in. He's like, good for that dude for putting his finances together. He goes, airmen don't do that in most cases. So this is another new build story, and so the builder is offering free appliances, free washer, dryer, and refrigerators, and it's an important part of the story. In addition, offering up to 6% in seller concessions, which can be used for buying down interest rates and paying for closing costs and so forth. They also were in such a good mood, I got them to throw in blinds for the house. And this is a spec home. It's going to be ready in 40 days. And we're getting to rock and roll. So, and I got them to take off $10,000 off the price of the home.
Cool.
Sitting good, right? So now, fast forward. He's using his VA eligibility, getting a VA loan. On-site agent doesn't understand, and many of them don't. And it's, it's just, we have Justin. Justin does such a great job of educating our listeners and educating us. The on-site agent does not understand the nuances of VA loans, seller concessions, what's considered seller concession. So in her mind, max VA loan seller concessions are 4%, which is true. But it really comes down to what's categorized as a seller concession, and it doesn't mean that a VA buyer can't use above the 4%. It's just 4% can only go to certain things. So they write it up. And saying, okay, well, you only get 4%. Had he not had us, that would have been the end of the game. He would have got 2% of a let's call it a $400,000 house. That would have been $8,000 being left on the table, and he just wouldn't have known, and wouldn't have known better. To say, well, the builder says this, the builder says this. So we had to get involved, and I had to get the builder's lender to educate the on-site agent. So we finally got it kind of worked out in the sense that the on-site agent finally understood. Then they're saying, well, it doesn't matter because it's already written on the contract, 4%. I'm like, well, that's okay. Let's stop with stupidity.
Good thing about contracts is you can change them.
You can change them. So let's get past that. And then she goes, well, the appliances are part of the seller concessions, and so unless the appliances were pulled out, we're going to say that the appliances are part of that extra 2%. I go, well, then pull them out. Freaking go buy our own washer machine, dryer, and refrigerator.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot less than $8,000. Oh, well, we can't do that. And I'm like, all right, I'm looking at the promotional stuff. I'm looking at our text threads. This is what was said. And at the end of the day, we got it all.
Good.
We got it all for him. And it just kind of goes back to a new build. If you go in without representation or you go in with someone who doesn't know how to negotiate, it's not necessarily catastrophic. It can be, I guess, but
$8,000.
I hate leaving food on the table, and I more importantly hate leaving money on the table. That's what's at risk.
For sure. Speaking of food on the table, you have a pretty cool little category coming up.
Yeah. So it is Friday. We are in the Arizona State Fair season. Do you like the Arizona State Fair? Do you? I'm gonna just, if I had to guess, like you'd rather be caught dead doing something else than going to the Arizona State Fair.
Yeah, I'm not. When I was a kid, I loved it. I loved going to the livestock, and I loved going to the hypnosis. I always thought that was hilarious, and I don't think they do the hypnosis anymore. When I was a kid, I did like going on the rides, but I don't know. I just kind of grew out of that, I guess. But they did a hypnosis show.
I remember that. Yeah.
And that was.
You ever been hypnotized?
They tried it, but I don't know. I guess I'm just not. I guess they can't do it to me. I'm sure someone could. I don't know.
They didn't pick the right personality at the time upstairs, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm a big fair guy. I love the fair. Anymore though, it's gotten so expensive.
And it's hot.
And it's hot. And when I was taking my kids there as they got a little bit older, the rides were just so much. But I love walking around. And I love the food.
And they used to have great headliners, and now like no real artists come. I mean, every now and then you'll get one or two in there that have a couple of hits, but I mean, like I went and saw Green Day there. I went and saw Nirvana there. Like I saw some pretty cool bands there when I was like in my late teens, early 20s and whatnot. But they just don't go anymore.
I saw Steve Miller Band there at the Arizona State Fair. Mark Chestnut, which a lot of people wouldn't know who he was, but he was a popular country singer back in the day. And then ZZ Top. That was awesome.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. All right, so what's your favorite fair food? Like if we were going to go to the fair and you got to eat one thing, pick out one thing, what is it?
All right, so one thing that they're doing better now than they did when I was a kid, and this is me speaking because last time I went was probably about 10 years ago when I took my kids, when they were like, 8 and 6 or something like that, or maybe 10 and 8. Anyhow, they have some amazing barbecue there now.
Yeah, they do.
And their ribs are money. So if I go to the fair and I only get to choose one thing, I'm going there and getting ribs.
Mine is, and don't get all weird on me about this, because I are. But I've got.
Don't say anything that'll make me get weird. Then
I love corn dogs. Okay, corn dogs. I just they opened up a brand new corn dog place right across the street from my house. They do nothing but sell corn dogs. I'm like, this is perfect for me, right? But at the fair, you can get the foot-long corn dogs, and I love those things, and I just do it up big gobs of yellow mustard, and I'm a sight to behold, but I love it.
I'm not going to get weird on you because I'll give it to him. I'll give it to you on this. It's better than the ones that you get in the freezer over at Costco because they actually hand dip them and whatnot. So I can see how that would be a better option than what you're normally having. And I'm not a sweets guy, but I will say that I will have shaved ice there. The shaved ice is, for some reason or another, at the fair. Shaved ice is pretty damn good.
Do you like all that crap that they deep fry?
No, I don't know.
All right, well there you have it. You're gonna have to choose if you want to go to the fair with one of us. You only get one. Who are you going to go with? I think you're going to have a better time with me. I'm pretty confident our listeners are going to have a better time with me.
Yeah, you're probably not even going to make it to the fair with me. We're probably going to stop off at a dive bar and end up staying
It's not a bad option either. All righty. We'd love to include you in Storytime. Would love to help you in your next journey or your next step in your journey to building wealth in real estate. all you got to do is text the word story to 623 AZ Recon. That's story to 623 AZ Recon.